So there you can see I'm kind of building up a high spot here, which is fine. That's what I was going for. The 1/8 or 1/16 tungsten actually helped considerably. I am melting it quite a bit here, but given that I know that I can back it off and actually get on this part here that's higher, it's not sagging down as much. I think I have a good chance at actually doing this right. So without more practice, and it probably will take more practice, I'm going to try it like it is, and worst case scenario, I'll just have to go and grind some off of it and do it again and keep doing it till I get it right. But so again, this is what we're starting with. You can see that there on the right is all chipped, all the way broken off, and then the middle thread there is chipped a little bit too. So let's go ahead and try it. I think I'll try the middle one first because it's the smallest, and we'll go from there. It doesn't look too bad. Not sure if it's high enough, but we'll have to grind it down and find out. Let's spin it around and work on the other one. Alright, so this is my attempt at trying to turn down the OD of it. Tried it on my lathe, and at first it worked alright, but then I dulled the cutter, tried to sharpen it again. It doesn't seem to want to do very well with these welds. It's a little too hard, plus it's an interrupted cut, so it'd make it pretty difficult for it. So what I'm going to try to do is just get it as close as I can doing it this way, and then I'll probably file it down the rest of the way, anything I need, but this should kind of do about the same thing. This is what I'm trying, so you can see. As you can see, I've got some board, well, a board up here, some screws to hold the shaft in place. I've got the gear that it's actually supposed to work with mounted in the vise there, and then you can see I've got my Dremel tool attached to this Noga arm, and that keeps that in place. And I'll move it till I get it to about the right angle that I need here, and then just spin it back and forth on top of the gear. And that keeps it in place, and as I spin it, it goes back and forth, so it kind of works to carve this gear back into it. Luckily for me, the bottom of the gear is actually still good and intact, so it can just ride on this and just go back and forth and keep readjusting the Noga arm until I get it carved down once it's most of the way carved down, then I can just take the file and go the rest of the way. So this is what I'm doing, and it takes forever, but hopefully this will get the job done. It eventually will get it down at least close enough, and from there I can either hand file it or I can put it back in the lathe, because maybe hopefully by then it'll be a less interrupted cut and I'll get through all the hardness of the top of this. So but this is what I'm gonna do. We'll tune back in whenever I get a little closer. Alright, so here's the finished results from my first go at it. You can see this is actually where this right here is where I actually did the welding, there and there. You can see I got some spots there that need to be filled in. But what I did is I chucked this up in my lathe, turned it to the outside diameter for these other threads here, so that it was at correct OD, and then I just took the Dremel to get the big bits of metal off the sides and stuff, and then after that I just took a small little file. See if I got it here. After that, I just took a small little file like this, and I just sat there and filed it. The good thing is that the gear itself was actually hardened, and so I was kind of able to use that as a guide. The file really wasn't cutting into that, which allowed me to go over this part here, which is what I welded, and it isn't hardened. It is hard somewhat, but it's not as hard. So the file was able to take that off, and I was able to use the remaining threads as a guide so that I could get it just about right. But as you can see, I've got some pockets here that it filled more up instead of sideways, so it didn't fill those in, which is okay. I can go through here and fill those in now and then do some more filing. And then the other issue I had was, let's see if we can see it here. If you can see it here, it looks like I probably had the amperage down too low. There isn't a good, you can see kind of a little crack, not a crack, but you can just see where it's not fused together very well through here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the amperage up, and then I'm going to go back over that without any filler, or maybe adding some filler too, but mostly just to try to blend those in and make sure it's got it's nice on either side, to make sure we got a nice connection. Because I want to make sure this isn't going to break off again. And then whenever we get done with that, we get to harden this. So I'm going to go ahead and do some more welding and some more filing, and we'll get back to it. Well, here's hopefully my last attempt. This is me welding up the bead. I ground it down some and filled it in, and then I ground it down some more, and it actually was going so badly that I thought I was going to ruin it completely. But I think this little contraption I got going here will help me save it. Alright guys, I finally got this shaft completed, this worm shaft. It's not perfect by any means. My biggest problem is I'm not a TIG welder. I gave it my best. This actually is probably about, I would think about 5 or 6 times of going at it, TIG welding, and then grinding away everything, then finding out that I'd either have a hole or I would have a dip in the, especially around the edges. And I mean, it's really hard, at least for me anyway. Maybe experienced TIG welder would be able to do a lot better, but to get this top edge here to not, whenever you apply the heat to it, to not just dip down, because you're trying to build it up and keep it the correct width or wider if you can. And I mean, it's just, it was a mess. So let me show you what I've done, and then I'll tell you basically why I stopped. All right, so here you go. This is what I've done. You can see there's a pretty bad spot right there, and that's just where, this is the part that I was welding and trying to meet it or blend it into that, transition it into that other piece that's not welded. It kept giving me that divot. You can see there's a little spot of it too, right there in the middle. But there's a spot there which I'd really love to be able to get in there and grind that back out again. But I've already done it a couple of times, and it's just, I don't know. I mean, it's crazy. I've tried going through and changing the tungsten. I went to a smaller 1/8 inch tungsten. You can see there again, that's got that divot going down. I just couldn't get it to do it. Same place there. But it is actually built up most of the way, and it is actually strong on, you know, where it's actually welded to it. So I'm not going to say that this is perfect by any means, but I think it will work a heck of a lot better than the piece that was completely broken out of there. So I think we possibly have something I can work with here. I did, whenever I was finished, I did actually heat treat it. So I first hardened it. Of course, I couldn't get this thing. I guess it's because it's such a thick part. I was just using a regular torch, like plumbing torch, and it wouldn't disperse wide enough, I think, to be able to get the heat all the way on this. Plus, I probably should have been using MAP instead of propane, so that we could get a hotter flame. Because I didn't get it. I got it just at the point to where it was glowing just a little, and then I quenched it because I couldn't get it to go the rest of the way. But I did it twice. The second time I actually think I did a lot better. And then after it cooled down, then I actually put it and tempered it for an hour in the oven. And it's got, well, here where I actually had it all nice and sanded, it's got a golden hue to it. So I think I got it the way it needed to be. But again, I think this is going to be a lot better than what it was. If it doesn't work, I can always pull it back out and try again. So there we go. It's not perfect by any means, but I hope that it will actually work good enough. If it doesn't, we'll fix it later. That's all I can do, right? I mean, do the best with the tools that you have, and given that this isn't a critical piece to use the machine, I don't think it's going to be that big a deal. If it does break, you know, I still can raise and lower that thing using a jack if I need to, even though I don't really want to do it that way. But if this was anything else, if this was actually part of the actual mill, you know, if it was any part of the mill gearing, anything that was a fully operational piece, then I'd be worried about it, because I don't think I did that great of a job. But given that it's just for a hand crank, just to raise and lower that thing, I think this will actually do what it needs to do. But I really want to get this thing together. It's been apart for, well, since I've had it, and I've had it now probably going on a year. And you know, I just hadn't had the time to get to it, and at the same time I wasn't really sure. You know, I had to get TIG welding. I've never done TIG welding. I do have the TIG welder, but I had to go get gas for it because the argon mix that I had, it wasn't going to work for this. So I had to go get the straight argon for it, and then I had to get the tungsten. I even got a better welding magnetic clamp, because my ground clamp was starting to fray. So I wanted to get something that I could actually stick to things a little bit better. And so a lot of different things led up to this, but hopefully I've got it good enough, and we can get this thing put together so that we can actually see what it can do. So I appreciate you guys watching. For anybody that's watching these mill videos, if you got one like it, send me a comment, because these things are hard to, well, they're not hard to come by so much as they're hard to find parts for, because you almost can't. And you know, this right here, this thing specifically, given how good I was doing this, which wasn't that good, I was feeling a little concerned about how well it was turning out. So I started going around and pricing. Since I couldn't buy this, I started pricing companies that would or get me quotes or whatever for making something like this. And the only one that even responded to me actually said that they would start something like this. The starting quote would be somewhere around $1,800. I didn't pay. I mean, you could double that, and it still doesn't add up to what I paid for. Or you could double what I paid for the mill, and it still doesn't add up to that. So to buy this one part for $1,800, it wasn't going to happen. So I had to figure out a way to fix it. So that's what I got. So if you got something like this, any round column mill like this, shoot me a comment. You know, I'd love to be able to get intertwined with a bunch of people there, get connected with a bunch of people that can actually make, you know, help me out with working on this thing, trying to tram it in, things like that, finding parts for it if there are any out there, just anything like that, because this thing being so old and no longer being made, not in production, they don't support it, I'm going to have a lot of problems with it. Hopefully I don't find anything else broken, and it looks like for the most part everything is working, but tramming this thing in, and you know, being a round column mill, I can't really tram it in, so I'll be using the table and things like that, doing all these fine adjustments and stuff to try to get decent quality out of it. But I think I'll be able to make something happen with it. If nothing else, I'm learning a lot as I go, and hopefully with the information you guys can give me too, together we can all hopefully be able to help each other out. If nothing else, help me out, because I really need it. So I definitely appreciate you guys watching, and as always, take care.